Hey, hello, my name is Arthur Graus, and in this video I'm going to introduce you to the Power Query language M. Let's take a look at Power BI Desktop. It basically consists of three parts, as you know. We have the reporting part, we have the modeling part, where we have the factor dimension tables, and we have this nice self-service ETL engine called Power Query or Datflows in Power BI Service. And this Power Query engine, if you look a little bit closer, is using a formula language. Everybody, of course, knows DAX, but this is the language called M. And it's responsible for ETL tasks, so doing extraction, transforming, and loading. So let's take a look at this formula language M. Where does this M stand for? Is it data molding? No. Is it data mashup, like some people call it? It's not the M for mashup. Is it data monkeying from the book of Chris Webb? Also not. Maybe data magic. It is some magic, but it's not where the M stands for. The M comes from modeling. The M language was first introduced in Project Oslo, which was a model-driven development framework. In the time that was very hot, you could define a model and then the code would be generated, C# code, to create like a whole application. And they also needed a modeling language to model all the entities, all the tables, and also a way to save the entities and load the entities from a database. So the M code will be translated into database code to insert data, update, delete, and also select the data. So that's where it basically comes from. But the M code that we use today is a lot different from the Project Oslo code. What is basically M code? It's one language to rule them all. Normally you would use a lot of languages like T-SQL for SQL Server to get the data, PL/SQL for Oracle, you use the REST APIs, you have OData or all kind of other protocols. So a lot of data sources that use different languages to connect to them. And M unifies this. So yeah, you need a different connector like SQL Server connector, but from there on, all the M code will be the same. No matter what you're connecting to an Excel sheet or an XML file or REST API or SQL Server or Oracle, it's basically the same M code to remove columns or to rename columns or to filter data. It's all the same M code. And in the backend, this M code will be transformed, translated into the native code, like T-SQL or PL/SQL if you're working with Oracle, or some REST API code like OData. And that's what I call query folding. That's the process of translating the general M code into the specific T-SQL code, for example. And that's very nice. And normally all this happens behind the scenes. You don't have to look at it. It's all done for you. You use basically the interface. And that's also why maybe M code is not so popular. Everybody's talking about DAX, writing all these nice DAX formulas, but not so many people are interested in M and diving into the M code. And that's a shame, because there are a lot of nice scenarios that you can do if you know M code. So when would you use M code and open up the advanced editor? A few scenarios. Maybe you want to do some custom columns and create some calculations. Of course, you can do it in the user interface, but more complicated conditional columns, it's difficult in the user interface. With ORs and ANDs, then some M code is really useful. Or if you want to create some parameters that you can use in multiple queries, then it's good to know some M code. What I always tend to do is create like a debug parameter to filter out my data. So if the debug is set to true, I'm going to work with a small data set, so everything is lightning fast. If I set it to false, I get all the data, and then it can be really slow. But I only use this in the Power BI service, so I'm not bothered with it. Dynamic filtering is also something I use quite a lot. So maybe I don't want all the data, but the last few months or the last few years. It's really easy to do this in M, and really difficult to do it good in the user interface. Some small tricks I also want to show you. So for example, if you group per customer and I want to get the latest order, I want a group per year, I want to get the latest something. That's not possible in the user interface, but with a small trick you can do it using M. But by far the most common use case for M code is using functions. So reusing code in a function with parameters, that's why you use M for. especially if you're working with web APIs, connecting to REST API, then you really need to know some M. So also on the website fabriccode.com, we're gonna cover a lot of articles and videos about this. And last but not least, error handling is always good to see what's happening and to create like error reports that you can really see what happened underneath and which errors occurred. And for that, you can use like a try-catch scenario. And that's also where you use M code for. So you can see a lot of scenarios to use M. This is the end of this video, but we have a lot of other videos and articles about these topics on the site fabriccode.com. Hope to see you there.